Hello everyone, welcome back to a session on Mendelian genetics. Today we are going to discuss about the chromosome theory of heredity. Chromosomes and genes were unknown to Mendel when he did his experimental works on heredity. Yet he experimentally proved that there are certain elements or factors which control the characters, and these factors were transmitted from parents to offspring through gametes. After the rediscovery of Mendel's laws, a number of investigators attempted to find out and explain the actual mechanism of heredity, of which three of them are to be or they deserve a special mention, and they are Sutton and Boveri and Thomas Hunt Morgan. In 1902, two investigators, Walter S. Sutton, an American geneticist, and Theodore Boveri, a German cytologist, independently suggested a hypothesis that genes are located on chromosomes. Their arguments were based on the parallel behavior of Mendelian factors and chromosomes during meiosis and fertilization. Now we know that sexual reproduction, which is the continuity or the physical continuity between the parents and offsprings, is established through haploid cells called as gametes, which are produced by the so-called meiosis or the gametogenesis. Either it can be spermatogenesis or oogenesis. And these gametes are the modified cells, and they have the cellular components like cell membrane, cytoplasm, etc., and chromosomes. During fertilization, the head of the male gamete fuses with the female gamete to produce a zygote, which is the first cell in the next generation. The major contribution in the case of sexual reproduction, the major contribution from the male parent is the head, which consists of only the nucleus and the chromosome, and therefore it is obvious that the characters which are inherited from father are through the chromosomes in the nucleus of the sperms. Similarly, characters from the mothers are inherited through the chromosomes of the egg nucleus. So a few characters may, however, be transmitted through the cytoplasm also, and thus it can be concluded that the chromosomes are the major carriers or vehicles of heredity. Coming to the important points or the important things to be noted in the chromosome theory of inheritance are the chromosome theory of inheritance mainly states that the genes are found on specific locations on the chromosomes, and that the behavior of chromosome during meiosis can explain Mendel's laws of inheritance. So, in the same pattern, Thomas Hunt Morgan, who was studying or who studied the fruit flies, provided the first strong confirmation of the chromosome theory. Morgan discovered a mutation that affected the eye color of the fruit fly. He observed that the mutation was inherited differently in males and females, and thus he was able to differentiate between the two chromosomes, that is the male chromosome as well as the female, or there is the difference in male as well as female chromosomes or in their sex chromosome. So the chromosomal theory was consistent with the Mendelian laws and was supported by the following observation. The first thing is that these points will be similar because we have discussed about mitosis, etc. So whatever we are discussing in chromosome theory will have will be the points which is related to either meiosis or our discussion in the Mendelian laws. So during meiosis, the homologous chromosome pairs migrate as discrete structures that are independent of one another. So the sorting chromosome of each homologous pair in pre-gamete appears to be random. So that is what is called as law of independent assortment. So each parent synthesizes gametes that contain only half of their chromosomal complement, which is nothing but our meiosis. The male and the female gametes have the same number of chromosomes, suggesting that equal genetic contribution from each parent. So this point is nothing but this is something which is related to the diploid phase of an organism. So in every diploid organism, after gametogenesis, so in every diploid organism, to say it is having two phases in their life cycle. It lives as a diploid organism it produces gametes which are haploid, and that haploid gametes fuse with the a male haploid gamete fuses with the female haploid gamete, and thus restoring diploidy of the organism. So every diploid organism will have a haploid phase, and that haploid phase are the gametes. Gametes again fuse to restore the diploid phase of that cycle. The gametic chromosome combine during fertilization to produce offsprings with the same number of chromosomes as that of their parents, which is fertilization. The chromosome theory of inheritance was proposed before there was any direct evidence that the traits were carried on chromosome, and it was controversial at first. It was confirmed by the work of the geneticist Thomas Hunt Morgan and his students who studied the genetics of fruit flies. Morgan found that the eye color gene was inherited in a different pattern in males and female. Males who have X and Y chromosome, while females are having two X chromosome. Morgan concluded that the eye color was inherited in the pattern or in pattern as in the same pattern as in the X chromosome. So this is all about what is called as the chromosome theory of inheritance. So chromosome theory is having the conclusions or the important points which are taken from the theories of which we have discussed in meiosis, as well as by the main thing is that in chromosomal theory, Sutton and Boveri proved that there is something which are called as chromosome, which contain the gene rather than factors, and they behave almost the same, or they have the same pattern of inheritance, which is hypothesized or proposed by Mendel in his laws. And hence that particular factors, they renamed it as chromosomes, and the factors, they renamed it as genes. And a further conclusion of this particular thing or confirmation of the thing came from the studies of Morgan, where he studied fruit flies and inheritance of eye color. He said that eye color inheritance is different in male and female, and the reason is because males and females are having different sex chromosome. That is because females are having XX and males are having XY. As a result, the inheritance pattern of a mutant eye color will be different in males and females. So this is all about what is called as the chromosome theory of inheritance. So with this particular session, we are concluding our first module on Mendelian genetics. In the next session, we will start with non-Mendelian genetics. What are the things, or what are the suggestions after the rediscovery of Mendelism? What are the new things that came up after the rediscovery, etc. So that will be discussed under the head which is called as non-Mendelian inheritance. So we'll see that in the next session. Thanks for hearing.